So, how's the season so far for you guys?
Well, pretty good on my side.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty slow on my side.
What?
Pretty slow on my side.
It's going to slow down too. I think we've had four Rimfire PRS matches so far, and then once July hits, it's going to be one every weekend until mid-September.
Cool.
Yeah, so all across Canada, which is nice. I get to see some.
You don't slow down like in August.
No, we go right through. So last week in August is our Eastern Championship. It's going to be in Caledonia. And then our national championship this year is near Ottawa, Clarence Rockland. So that'll be the big 2-day. Last year it was in Tabor, Alberta.
Cool.
So, yeah. So now we just keep rolling. We don't have time. I need to compress it all so I can get back to work and make up for all the money I'm not making during the summer. But it's fun. It's fun. I get to see all of my friends across Canada, and I get to shoot at some really nice ranges. There's so many nice places.
So you travel a lot inside Canada to get all these matches rolling?
Yep. Next week I go to Nova Scotia. We have a training day there, Project Maple Seed, and then we have a PRS match on the Sunday.
Cool.
And then when I come back for a couple of weeks, and then we start the trip out west.
I saw that the Project Maple Seed is somewhat of a like introduction and training and getting new people into the sports.
Yeah, exactly. It's brand new. We take people who were never even fired a round before.
Cool.
And we go through the whole safety procedure, and it's all positional. So we show them unsupported shooting, prone, seated, kneeling, and standing.
So good.
Yeah.
Do you have it in? Do you have dates in Quebec too, or?
We have none in Quebec. We were trying to get one in Rimouski. We have a range there. The problem is we have trouble finding ranges that allow us to shoot standing or positional.
Yeah.
So we need a special range that's got dispensation or grandfathered in from maybe old biathlon range. Plus, we also don't have the course translated yet into French. So it was based on Project Appleseed in the States, and they have thousands of events every year all across the U.S. So we have maybe 100+ in Canada, across from coast to coast. So
I might be speaking for myself only, but if you need someone to translate it, I would be interested in doing this.
That would be perfect. Let me work with Blaise Morin in Rimouski. I don't know if you know him.
I've heard his name, but I don't know him in person. I haven't ever met him.
We're trying to have the first event there, maybe this year. We just have to find a date, so maybe in the fall, and we'll see how it goes. So we'll get together after the podcast, and we'll exchange some information, and maybe we can make it happen there.
Sure.
So that would be super cool. Yeah, I've been meaning to. We don't have Rimfire PRS matches in Quebec, well, at least from our side, and we don't have.
There's only ORPS, I think.
Yeah, that's right.
In Rimouski, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think Valcartier used to have Rimfire PRS matches. I don't know if they will do.
They had only one couple of years ago in the winter.
Yeah.
But it's such a beautiful property to have there on the artillery pad. Oh,
yep.
Man, it's one of Canada's best. So, yes, I haven't been there in years. I have to stop this match series, man, so I can get back to shooting for fun. Actually, I got to shoot last week, which was nice. So anyway, we're almost done here. Let me get the intro running, and then we'll start the podcast. Stand by, everybody. Stand by. Hey, welcome to the Rimfire Nation podcast, your home for all the rimfire shooting information and chatter and talk and just getting to discuss our passion for shooting. Tonight, our special guests are Yanick and Etienne, who are going to talk about PRS and the pursuit of improvement. That's my title. That wasn't their title, but they've been in and around shooting for a long time, and I thought it'd be great to get them on and talk about their journey into shooting and maybe into PRS, and then kind of what they're doing to help themselves improve and help others kind of develop that passion and focus on improvement. But first, we're going to see what's new at Tesro. Tesro.ca is the title sponsor for the Rimfire Nation podcast. So let us take a look at what is new. And again, if you haven't checked in on Tesro, what's new? They have a newsletter that goes out every Tuesday, but today it came out on the Wednesday for some reason. I think Asmir was busy yesterday. But the sampler packs, again, if you're not aware, we don't reload for Rimfire. I'm sure you know we don't reload for Rimfire, but if you want to get the best performance out of your rifle, you need to try out different ammo and could be even different lots. And Tesro makes it easier by giving you the option to buy sampler packs. And they have small, medium, and large budget sampler packs. So you can buy a set of 5 different ones. In this case, this one's the I think that's the Celian Bellot Canadian Match, Ely Club, SK Standard, Norm Attack, and I'm not sure what that other one is. Could be RWS? No, I don't know what that was. Or Gecko, maybe. Other updates. He's got 223 brass and 6x47 Lapua coming out this year. They are taking pre-orders. So if you are looking or hoping to get some, the best way to get that brass for either 223 Lapua or 6.5x47 is to get on the pre-order. And Ely is supposed to be coming in May and June. I know that we've been waiting for our Ely team and Ely match, along with what else is there? Anschutz. So I don't know if you know, but Anschutz has come out with a beautiful Rimfire PRS rifle in a chassis. I'm waiting to get our hands on that so we can try it out. What else? Lapua restock. Oh, Exact ammunition. If you don't know quality, expensive ammunition, Lapua Exact is. I've never even shot Lapua Exact. I know it's at the top end of that. What else? You've got 6.5 by 55, 6.5 Creed, 6.5 Creed in 156. Through at Winchester, these are with the C9L rounds from Lapua, as well as projectiles and brass. For those that don't know, Tesla also is known for their in-house builds based around the CZ457 action in either ACC or XRS chassis. Each one is hand-assembled by JP Noel and tested to make sure it falls within the performance expectations of their very discerning customers. So check out Tesro for your precision shooting needs. And now, without any further ado, I'd like to welcome, with great pleasure, Yanick and Etienne. Welcome to the Rimfire Nation podcast, guys. Thanks for taking the time out of your busy days to join us.
Thank you, Rick.
Pleasure.
Oh, perfect. So now, I've shot with Yanick, and Yanick, I was shooting with you before you had your children, so life is very different for you now. And Etienne, I've just met you today. So why don't you guys give us a background on how you got into shooting and maybe how you got into PRS, and then kind of what you guys are doing going forward there.
Go, Jan.
All right. I was letting you go first, but for those who know me, I started kind of as a kid for air rifle competition shooting, and I stopped because of the studies when I turned probably 17 or 18, and I started back close to the end of the studies. Can't remember when it was, probably now 6 years ago, just before the COVID. I think 1 or 2 years before COVID hit, and started F class, then PRS, and really hooked on PRS because of the movement, different target engagement and stuff like that. And so I started kind of slowly. Then the we got the COVID and border closed, so and most of the shooting range for Centerfire in Canada to PRS closed also. So I switched for Rimfire to keep shooting for that time for 2 or 3 2 maybe 3 years in the Rimfire world. And when the border reopened, as I said earlier, and the first podcast we did, Rick, at the time, and I said like when the border is going to reopen, I'm going to go back to Centerfire and leave the Rimfire behind. It's exactly what happened. So I'm back to Centerfire on a more serious note now, shooting more pro matches and regional matches in the States and Canada as much as I can. So,
well, we're happy you stopped shooting Rimfire because the podium opened up, so people can now move on to the podium. So thank you very much. We miss you, but we appreciate the opportunity.
People have improved so much during the last like 3 years.
It's
when I
crazy.
step out, because I keep shooting Rimfire when I have the time. It's just I don't shoot as much, but I do like 1 or 2 match of Rimfire a year, and honestly, I cannot even compete these days with the guys who shot that. I'm not too far behind for someone who doesn't practice or anything, but still, like, people have improved a lot.
It's wild. It's wild watching these guys shoot now.
It is.
It's crazy, and it's not just the gear. It's the skill that people bring now, and the mental game that the approach is. When we started 7 years ago, it was a 1022 and a Savage Mark II that were the winners for that first event. And, we were just, no one regularly shot past 100 yards with a 22 back then. Yeah. Now it's, 100 yards is kind of just warming up. It's a cold bore shot just to confirm. And now it's crazy. So,
yeah.
Yes. Yeah. No, it's good. You still have that 4.55 you were shooting?
Yes, I do. Actually, I do. Oh, yeah, I do. And, when I bring
4.55.
Yeah, when I bring it out, everyone knows that it's like serious. You start shooting seriously when you get the 4.55, the really old 4.55 out, because I have custom Rimfire and everything, but it's still like, and I don't use it, but I cannot sell it. It's just
no, you can't.
It's been way too good. And
I got a story about this 4.55. The very first PRS Rimfire match that I shot them with Yanick, and he lent me his 4.55 because I didn't have a Form 6 for my 22 rifle.
Yeah,
and I didn't have a good 22 like PRS build. I think it was a match in Vermont, not too far from where we live, and the guys wanted to go shoot the 22 matches. And they said, Yanick just told me, I have an extra rifle if you want to come with us. So I said, why not? I'll just try it. And same as Centerfire PRS. So I just came down with them. We shot the match, and I actually beat Yanick with his rifle on that first match I shot. And I think I started the day on a very, very little KYL, which we had to re-engage the last smallest KYL target on the rack, which was, I don't know, probably 1/4 inch, something like that, at 60 yards. I just drilled that target.
It's amazing.
Yeah, that rifle shoots awesome.
Anytime somebody asks me, is a CZ 4.57 or 4.55 competitive, I say absolutely. I've seen people podium with it regularly. I said this 4.55 that I've seen in the past is, it's incredible. So it's. There's no equipment isn't what's going to hold you back if you have a decent base. It's more of, like you said, the evolution of the shooters nowadays is incredible. And then we have the Worlds, obviously, that's happening in August this year in England, which again is amazing. I think the sport has grown so much that we have a World Championship match. Italy, and now we're in England, so who knows where we're going. So
I think we're going to have a really good Canadian team to show there.
So. Yes, I think so. Yep. And again, our the topic is how do we keep everyone growing and going for the gold and building that base. So you guys are all part of that. So now you're focused on PRS now, Yanick, and you play every now and again in Rimfire when you have a chance. You dust off the 4.55 and show them what a 4.55 can do. That's
good. Here now and then, once a year for the last 2 years, I've shot a Rimfire match, not more than that. Not that I don't want, it's just
schedule.
Exactly. You got to choose what you shoot at some point, and yeah.
Yeah. Well, you started. You had no kids. Now you have 2 and 3/4 kids now. 2 and 7/8.
Yeah. Well, yeah, exactly. 7/8. It's gonna be in a month or so, the third one. So
yeah, that changes your availability. Perfect.
Exactly.
And then you and Etienne are working on a lot of projects together as well, right? Yeah. So before we get to that, Etienne, what's your background? How did you get into shooting? And
I started shooting. I started shooting when hunting waterfowl. So I come from the shotgun world. If you want, I started waterfowl hunting. I love the challenge of it and the like the movement and action kind of shooting. So that's what I know. Then I wanted to shoot more clays, so I started to shoot more clay pigeon for training at first. But then I really liked just hanging out at the shooting ranges and training on that. And I think it's around probably 2018. I saw PRS matches on YouTube, and just when I saw that, I just knew that I wanted to do this. I wasn't even sure if it was possible in Canada with everything that we have, law, and in Quebec, I think it's even a little bit harder for civilian ranges.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just didn't know if it was possible, but I decided I wanted to do this. So I built a rifle and I started to train. I learned the basics of long range shooting and trained. And I think I shot my first PRS match. It was in Valcartier, probably the year right after COVID. So maybe 2021, I don't know. The first year it reopened. So I shot my first match there. And that is kind of where I met Yanick for first time. We were squatted together. We shot that match together. And after that, the kind of little story behind is he was already shooting in the U.S. I've never shot in the U.S. before. So at one point, there was a match in Sheepdog Warrior. It's in New York. It's probably like 4.5 hours from where we live. I just watched videos on the internet and checked the legislation to get the Form 6 and do the paperwork to be able to cross the gun. So I just registered at Sheepdogs, and I showed up there the morning. And Yanick was there, and I just went to see him. And hey, man, I don't know if you remember me, but we shot in Valcartier together and in French. So we were the only two French Canadians probably there that day. I think Phil was there though. So our other friend Phil Landry, I think he was there too.
I think so.
So yeah, from now on we just stuck together, and now we travel together. We shoot a lot of matches and
nice.
Started some projects together too.
Not a bad life, eh?
No, it's not. And Rimfire, I love the Rimfire. I think I'm a little bit like Yanick. I'm more on the centerfire side of the PRS, but I really love the 22 for training. And last year, I started to shoot a couple matches a year with my wife. Okay. So she started to shoot a couple matches now and then, just for fun. So, like, I love those 22 matches because you don't need muffs. You don't need, like, there's no concussions of the gunshots. It's super. I think it's casual. I think it's easier to get anyone started.
Yeah.
So, and it's just a good time on a weekend. Just hang out with my wife and shoot a rimfire match. So
yeah, a lot of clubs are doing back-to-back rimfire centerfire weekends.
Yep.
Yeah.
So it's a fun opportunity to be able to do two separate styles of matches or similar matches, but different equipment set. You know.
It's exactly what I did last weekend.
There you go.
I shot Saturday. I shot a centerfire in Alderbrook in New Hampshire, and on the Sunday it was a rimfire match.
Okay.
So
nice. Now, what was your what caliber was your first centerfire rifle, and what are you shooting now?
I started with a 6.5 Creedmoor.
Okay.
I bought a Savage 110 6.5 Creedmoor. I put that barreled action in a MDT chassis. At the time, it was an LSS XL, I think, XL Gen 2, something like that.
Right. Yeah.
The ACCs were not on the market, and now I'm shooting a 6BR. Out of custom rifle. Still shooting the MDTs though. I run the ACC Elite.
Yeah. Yanick, what about you? What was your first center fire competition? Caliber?
My
Do you
first
remember?
one was a 6.5. Oh, that's not true. I started with a 243.
Okay.
243 Remington in a Ruger Precision for the first year. Then I switched to my 6.5 Creed, and then I got a 6 Creed, and then the 22 BR for a long time, and I'm switching this year to the 6 BRA.
Okay. Nice. It's interesting to see the evolution of the centerfire PRS. That's kind of why I'm asking, because where'd you start from and where you now kind of see the direction that people are going. So that the 6 mil is coming in. IBI just sent us a 6 mil Creed for as a demo rifle, and that thing hammers, man. I'm impressed. Well, yeah, my first PRS was 647 Lapua. That was my first round. So I skipped the 6.5 and went to the 6 directly. So it's been fun. So now you guys are spending a lot of time together. Now you got a couple of projects. What are some of the projects you guys are doing?
Well, we like you clearly hear it from our accent. We are both French Canadians, and we started to do some trainings or courses, if you can say it that way. The goal behind this is really to be able to offer something in French, because in English we feel like there is a lot of really good information out there. There's a lot of good podcasts. There are good YouTube channels. There's a lot of really good information in English, but in French we don't think that there's a lot that exists, and we felt like nothing was touching on PRS. So if what competition or just PRS style shooting was what you wanted to do, then we felt like there was nothing there, and we both felt like it might have been something that was holding people back. Like if you have a hard time with English, you have a hard time maybe just talking or just even listening to it, understanding it, then we felt like it was probably something that holded people back, and we are just trying to do what we can to give back and to just share our knowledge and get more and more people into the sport. And so that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to do it in French, like we say, because
not a lot there. Yeah, no, that's good. That's awesome.
Yeah, you can find a lot of content in English about almost everything we do. I think you can find in English, but not in French. So.
No. And there's such a cool group of French Canadian shooters. It's always fun to squad with the French connection. You know, it's super fun. It's super laid back. No one takes things too seriously. At least in the Rimfire side of the house. And it's always a good time. So I'm glad you guys are trying to get that community to grow, and it's cool. What's the best way for them to kind of see where you guys are, what you're doing? Is that YouTube? You have a podcast? What's the different?
Well, we have a Facebook page called Sur la route de la précision, which is also the name of the podcast, the French podcast. Okay. And we have our own page also, and the we have it's not on Sport. Is it Spotify, Etienne?
Yeah, it's on Spotify too.
Yeah, it's on Spotify, and I put it also on my own YouTube channel, kind of precision shooting. But it's still it's in French. My YouTube channel is kind of both of stuff. Both? You get English stuff and you get French stuff, so it's getting confusing for most people. But it is what it is. So
right, and you're seeing a lot of interest in. Did you see a lot of new shooters coming out? Was that something you guys are trying to work on, or because we see maybe every match there's 2 or 3 new faces that I see. I don't know if that's the same in kind of the matches you shoot in Quebec.
I haven't shot in Quebec I haven't shot last year. I shot the year before. I think, as I said, it's really even this year. I'm not shooting the U.S. matches, regional U.S. matches. It just doesn't fit. So obviously, I'm not going to shoot Valcartier over that. But back in the days, usually most people at Valcartier are usually the same. We see one or two new shooters every match.
Yeah.
But I feel like we started our class this year, and from what we know, at the match that was 1 or 2 weeks after the class, there were at least 5 new shooters.
Nice.
At least, because we had the people of the class who were going for the first time, plus a couple others. So it's like for a place where it's always the same crowd, having 5 new shooters is kind of something. It's not big, but it's a
big number. You notice it.
Yeah, it's helping. It's helping.
Yeah, for sure.
One step at a time.
That's it.
Exactly.
And that's what we find also is a lot of people, I always ask, what stops you from starting? They say, well, I don't think I'm ready. Well, you're never going to get ready until you find out what you don't know. And the only way to find out what you don't know is to show up and try it. I think there's a lot of emotion tied to fear of failure or something. But once they meet the community, they become very relaxed and, nothing to be scared of. Everyone, from the guys that eventually win, they're still making misses. They still screw up mentally. They still make the same, not as often as you do, but, we've all been there,
Exactly. And that's probably the main message that we're trying to send out to in our podcast and the things we set out. Like, we've said it multiple times. Just show up with what you have.
Yeah.
Go there, show up to the match. People are going to help you. People are going to show you, are going to coach you. They're going to help you get impacts. They're going to lend you their stuff if you don't have a bag. You don't have. Just show up with a gun, and ammo, a little bit of a dope, and then if you don't have the rest, people are going to help you. I mean, when I started, it was exactly that way. Sure, you have to set some, I don't know how to say it in English, pride maybe.
Yeah.
Like, you have to set some pride aside.
Yeah.
It's going to be hard. You're not going to get a 75, 80 hit percentage. You're not going to do this.
Yeah.
But you are going to have, I'm sure you're going to have so much fun. You're going to learn so much in the first 2 to 5 matches. You're going to learn a whole lot of stuff. And like you said, the most important part is the community is just everybody's helping everybody. It's a competition, but when I started, I said it's a match. I'm just showing up to a match. I'm not there to compete. I'm not competing. I'm just shooting a match.
Yeah, you're just learning how to shoot a match. Never mind learning how to, people have. I don't think people want to win. I just think people don't want to embarrass themselves. They feel like I don't want to end up looking bad.
Yeah, but I'm sure
in front of others.
I'm telling everybody, if you just have a good attitude and you're there with a smile, you're not going to embarrass yourself. As long as you're safe. As long as you don't mess with safety, you don't flag anybody, you don't carry around a loaded rifle. As long as you're safe and you have a positive attitude, like, you're going to have a hell of a time, and people are going to help you, and
you're going to learn lots. And people always try and overanalyze and buy all the gear they think they need before they show up. I think that's the other thing that, we have so many people, like you said, willing to lend you a bag or, help you get your dope. I mean, the first thing people do is, if you're missing, is let's get a chronograph on your rounds and see what your velocity is, so we know roughly what your trajectory is, and help get that first hit. Everyone spots, and everyone high fives when you make that first hit on that steel. Exactly. It's a cool environment. So that's good. That's awesome.
And I get it's probably hard to believe when you're just at home, you never shot a match, you never showed up to a match, and you're just listening guys like us say, hey man, just show up. We're going to help you. It's probably hard to believe, but once you do it, I tell you, it's real.
It's true. It's true.
True.
People are amazed how friendly people are. They're so surprised. I don't know why. Maybe in the real world, people aren't that nice, but certainly, with the hundreds of matches I've been part of, it's been certainly, I've seen it. People bring new ones. All of a sudden, they kind of get adopted by the squad, and everybody says, okay, let's do this, let's do that. Oh, let's go over here and let's try some things, let's work on your position, or try this bag, try that bag, do this, stand like that, and don't worry about those targets. Those targets aren't for you. It's if it's in PRS, if it's a 300-yard target, you should be hitting that pretty easily. If it's 1,000 yards, yeah, that's not for you, man. That's to separate the podium guys. That's for 3 years from now. So, like you said, it's put your pride aside and just be a sponge and soak it all in and have a good time. So.
And honestly, the 1,000-yard targets you're talking about is probably what hooked me on the most. Like the first time, and it's probably kind of the same thing on 22 when you first you shoot your, I don't know, 350 yards with the 22. The time lapse between the gunshot, the bullet hitting the target, and the sound coming back. I mean,
it's crazy.
And when you send it like 1.2 mils left and it comes back on the target, I mean, to me, it's just that's what got me hooked.
That's cool. Now, how did you guys develop? Was there a mentor that you had that was working with you? Or is this all something you started working on your own to try and get better? Because everyone's trying to figure out how to get better, right? That's the question. It's okay. I'm here. I shot my first match. Now what do I do? How do I improve? How did you guys improve your game, so to speak?
Well, I've been lucky enough. Yanick gave me a couple tips because he was there before me.
There you go. So he's walked that road. He's walked that road of precision before you.
Yeah, but I think that's probably right now the easiest way to gather information on how you can improve your game, because the improvement is going to be different for almost everyone. Once you at the beginning, you need to understand the game, like how the shooting happened. When you figure how the shooting happened and that you have to deal with time, position, well, you're going to start training on what you can control, which is how to be stable, breaking good shot, lateral point of aim. And that's like where 80% of your time is going to be for the first probably 2 years, depending how many matches you shoot. But let's say for your first 10 match are going to be around that. 80% of the point you can claim are going to be in there. And after that, you start getting more like into the top, I'll say top tier, but top experienced shooter. And then you start fighting with the win, with the trickier stages, movement and more. You're fighting for 2 or 3 points during the match at this point after the first 10. And that's at the moment where you start slowing down the improvement you get. And so for the first, I'll say 2 years, for the first 10 match, if you get someone who's used to the game, you're going to learn so faster, and you can cut those 10 matches in half. If you got someone to at least coach you, or just telling you like, dude, you were awkward in this position, try to do it this way or this way, you can learn so faster. And so that's probably the way to go for the beginning. And at some point you're going to be your own limits, and you got to learn by yourself more peaky stuff. It's always yours with 2 people, because you're just going to share ideas left to right. And that's why the sport is getting more fun. It's because you're not all alone. Like the game is alone, but you can prep your stage, talk stage plan, debrief after the match, brief before the match, brief before the stage with people around, and you got to share ideas. And and I'm just gonna do really a brief side note here, but like that was the best part I feel in doing the world match. For us, it was last year for Center Fire, but the team this year is gonna feel the same way with the Rimfire, because we've learned from Italy that we need to work as a team, and it's exactly what happened last year. We did work as a team, and we were the wind was super tricky. And we got the best example of that probably the last stage, I think, or prior. No, I think it was the last stage.
It was one of
long
your
range.
last stages on the second day of you were shooting.
Yeah. The wind was just insane and really, really tricky, like switching from, I will say, 5 miles per hour up to 35 miles per hour.
It was lifting sand. It was lifting sand and dust and everything would hit.
Oh my god!
It was
brutal.
Crazy.
Brutal. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like for 10 seconds you cannot see anything, and people were just closing the boat not to take a shot, just to make sure there is no sand coming in the action. And when it slowed down, then they open it back and try to find a target and keep going. And so the wind was just up and down, and we've been working for at least 15 minutes as a team trying to just figure what was the wind pattern. Let's say it'd go up for about a minute and then go down for about 2 minutes, and then it'd go up for about a minute and then go down for about 2 minutes. And how many times does it take for the wind that we feel to go up, climbing the mountain up to the 1,000-yard target? And it was about a minute and a half. So about the time of the stage. And so we came up with a wind plan of, we're going to take exactly the wind in our position a minute and a half before I start shooting. And that's going to be the wind plan.
That's amazing.
And we're going to start shooting. And when I started shooting, the wind changed at our position. I kept the wind call we used a minute and a half before.
That's so
and
cool.
I got like 9 out of 10, where the average hit was about 3 or 4.
That's so cool.
Up to 1,000 in a mountain. And that was only because we worked together and we've learned this part, like this really tricky wind that day together. Amazing.
Yeah. What the like he that was on his second shooting day. So when he was shooting his second day, I was not shooting. I already finished my match. So we were just out there, and I was not the only one. All of the other Team Canadian shooters were paired with other shooters to try to help, to try to, like, I didn't have anything else to do than just watch it win and try to give him some information for him to work with, because he had to still reload his mag and everything. So that's the teamwork. He was and if we can give a pro tip to the people listening, the wind he was referring to is, we had a tailwind. So the wind was coming from behind us and then going into the range. Okay. So that kind of helped us too, because if the wind is coming from behind you, then you feel it before it goes down range.
Yeah.
So that's kind of why we figured out too that we had to wait before we bump the wind call. Because sometimes people will, if you have a tailwind and then you feel a gust on you, sometimes you need to still wait to bump your wind.
Yeah.
And the opposite is also real. If you have a headwind and you feel a gust,
it's too late.
It's too late.
It's already too late.
Yeah. Rimfire is easier in that because the range is shorter. Yeah. So it's only let's say you're 100 yards. Well, the wind,
quarter of your distance. Yeah.
The winds change faster.
Yeah.
But when you feel it, it's going to be more affected in the distance than when we shoot at 1,000 yard. Well, it takes a lot of time for the wind to change at 1,000 than what we have in our position. So it doesn't mean it doesn't matter, not at all. But it's not exactly the same wind call. I just want to say it's for more from Centrifire, but you got the idea of brainstorming and team and everything else.
Well, that's the key thing.
Part of the,
and that's what I'm looking forward to, is hearing how the team comes together like a real team, not just individual shooters shooting the stage, but how Team Canada supports it's Team Canada shooting the stage, not just that individual member of that team. I think, from just making sure you got water, you got, you got snacks, you got foods, you got any, if you're missing something, someone can go back to the truck and get it or whatever, just one less thing for you to have to worry about.
Exactly. It was part of what Capra said, like prior of going to the world, is that you're not going to shoot for yourself. You're going to shoot for the team. So if you're so far behind that there is no way your score is going to count because they cut the last score of the team in every division. So if you're so far behind, your score is going to be thrown out of the team score. Well, it doesn't mean you don't have to shoot. It means shoot your stuff and give us your win call. Like shoot the thing, take information on the stage in the win call or whatever else you can gather from that. And we had at that time a share point with every stages, and so you can just collect data and give it to the rest of the team. So you're not wasting your ammunition.
Right.
You're just doing it for the team.
Yeah.
We had a great team. We had a great team. Everybody participated. Everybody helped. It was the best shooting experience I've ever had in my life.
Nice. I'm glad you got to be part of that and to live that dream. Everybody wants to.
I wish the team this year like got the same experience at the Rimfire in UK. That's obviously like another country people are going to visit and shoot in, and we're planning right now the team meeting for like starting in mental game point of view, prepping the shooters and telling them exactly what we said for the Centerfire team about the same time of the year of that you're going for the team.
That's so cool.
Yeah, I know we got really good shooters that might have a chance to podium by themselves, but they need to focus on team scores. That also going to remove a bit of the stress or pressure out of what they're trying to do when you know you're shooting for the team more than you're shooting for yourself, and you try to podium the team more than you try to podium yourself. If you podium yourself through the experience, well, good for you and good for everyone. Everyone's going to be happy for you for everything.
I can tell you it's a pretty special experience. I can tell you this.
Yeah. Nice. That's so cool, man. I can't wait. Again, it's we're such in the early stages of that world's team. Like these are the pioneers, you know. Centerfire, Rimfire, we're all kind of building. We're all working together. Like we all contribute, you know, through support. Either we buy raffle tickets or we host matches, or we give people opportunity to practice and train and create the community of support. But you know, it's like team also. You know, Capra is building the team of 10 years from now, 15 years from now. You know, every lesson, every note that they make in their notebooks. Oh, we could do better with that, or let's do more of this and less of that. It's all part of it. And I think, you know, the shooters, we have some great shooters. You know, I've had a chance to see. I think I've met all of the shooters that are going this year, and we have a great opportunity. You know, it's just important to keep that team mentality together. Like you said, it's, you know, everyone helps everyone else become a better shooter, even just like that, just being a data point for someone to reference when they're shooting their stage, you know, whether your score counts or not is still part of that data point. So it's going to be cool. Yeah. I wish I was going. And I'll fill the water bottles, man.
Yeah, well,
you can. There's always need for helpers.
That's what I was going to try to roll on is honestly, we had amazing support from the Capra board. I'm going to name her Carly is an amazing person. She's been so good with the team. She's been like the team mom. She literally makes sure that no one was missing something, was needed something. And like as a shooter, we really felt that. Well, I really felt that I had the support of an old team behind me, and
that's super.
And you talked about raffle tickets, and I encourage everybody to jump in, buy a ticket, buy a T-shirt, buy whatever. It's only a small step for a lot of people. It's $20 in, but it's an expensive sport. People who shoot it know it's expensive. Making the trip to the World Championship is an expensive trip. It's the time of your life, but it's an expensive trip. So if I can just like encourage everybody to just jump in and throw in what they can. The shooting community is a small community, but I think we're really strong together. And I just hope that the support comes on because
plus the rifle this year is like it's an insane build. I don't know if you've seen what it is. Like it's a super light hunting rifle, but it's a custom hunting rifle. Honestly, like I cannot buy tickets because I'm part of Capra, so it will be a bit awkward if I win it. But
it'll be awkward when you win it.
Yeah. But honestly, like it's really cool. And other than that, we got also like t-shirts and hats and you know, just for people who don't want a rifle, just to, you know, still helping and get a little something in return. Yeah. It's really everything is helpful at this point, and we got really good support from the community. But we're trying to shoot almost 30 shooters to UK. That is a really expensive trip, and so every dollars can help the team to make the trip more affordable for them.
I'm gonna paste the link.
We have a lot of companies jumping in to help and give products, so we can make raffle tickets and things like that. I don't want to get into politics, but I wish that we would have a little more support from our government or agencies. But we need to rely on the shooting community and.
It's going to be
if you can help, it's always appreciated.
So here you go.
Oh, good. Thanks.
So that's where it starts. CanadianPrecisionRifle.com/shop, and in there you'll see the opportunities that you can buy hats, shirts, tickets, stickers to the HMB Hunter Rifle Draw, the Vision Pro chassis, and youth sticker draws, and on and on. So crack open those pocketbooks. And to help Team Canada, man. It's going to be good. Oops, what happened to it? Yeah. So cool. Yeah, no, I'm looking forward to it. I wonder, are they going to do a live stream? I think that was from, I don't know if they're going to be there again. Shooters World? Who did that one?
Shooters Mindset.
Shooters Mindset.
They do a live, they did a live from, I think it was in Italy at first. Yeah. And hopefully they did it also last year at the,
in Colorado.
Yeah.
Cool.
I haven't watched it, but
I saw some parts of it, and they do a pretty good job. They're really nice people. They're out there. They try to see a lot of the shooters. They try to show a lot of the shooters. They do some little interviews. It's honestly pretty cool.
It's something. It's better than not knowing what's going on. And again, it's not easy getting everybody all the time, so it's
there's just too much shooters.
Too much.
We were like 300 shooters, I think, last year. Like you won't get everyone.
You won't get everyone,
but it's just cool to, you know, you get it. You can look at the scores, but it doesn't show you how it went. And on the other side, you can just look at people shooting.
Yeah.
When you're at work or whatever, you were doing it at the same time. It's really cool.
Yeah, I encourage people to watch it. I was watching it with my kids before they go to school. When Team Canada was in Italy for the Rimfire Worlds, like because of the time lapse. So when we wake up in the morning, they would take their breakfast while watching the Shooter's Mindset and Team Canada shooting the PRS 22.
Yeah, as a match director, I only want to see the barricades and the props that they have. It's crazy the quality compared to what we throw together every weekend somewhere else. You know, when you have the luxury of, you know, putting it in concrete with steel supports and full structures, you can get pretty creative. So it's pretty cool watching the barricades and watching the guys work the barricades. That's what I tell people. You know, you can learn so much. Just the sound is off and you're just watching someone, you know, elegantly, you know, run a stage. You know, it's beautiful to watch. You know,
well,
lessons you can learn.
If I can bring you back on when you ask what you can do to improve or what are you doing, guys, to improve, I think that maybe taking notes or filming yourself and watching or just trying to have some way of looking back at what you did is a good way to improve after that, and taking notes on what you did good, what you didn't do good, what you need to improve. Is a good way to start and to build on something. And I think that the other part is is fundamentals. Like being good on fundamentals and technique. I think I'm a technique guy. I'm a
Yeah.
fundamental guy.
Yeah.
I
It's
think,
got to start there. If you don't have the base, you're just wasting opportunity, you know? 'Cause
and
you,
once
you get
the
bad habits.
yeah, bad habits are the worst. And when your fundamentals are sound, when you have good technique, I think it kind of it kind of falls into some subconscious.
Yeah.
So you like it
You
kind
can
of
worry more about the win or more trickier
exactly.
parts
Yeah.
because you don't have to worry about your positional
Yeah.
bases and your bag placement and all that
Yeah.
kind of stuff that just go naturally at some point.
Exactly. Yeah. You don't screw up the position or the shot counts or the sequence. And
Because
no,
Yeah.
so much is implemented in your brain, so
Yeah.
and in your like muscle memory,
yeah.
so you can just focus and think about all the new things or the sequence or the wind or your dope or your dial or whatever.
Yeah.
And it
It's
sometimes
amazing.
doesn't really it's sometimes hard to show up. And last match, I wish I would have filmed it. We had a 10 position barricade, so it
Yeah.
was the stage was 10 position on the like all poles. So you had a standing pole next to a prone pole. You had to stand up and go down like 2 or 3 times. So
Yeah.
10 position, only one target. A lot of shooters were timing out.
Yeah.
A lot of shooters were timing
For
out.
sure. For sure.
Yeah, 'cause, I mean it's 10 positions,
Yeah.
and I don't want to sound cocky, but I looked everybody shooting it and I was like, okay, I'm gonna have to hurry a little bit if I don't want
Yeah.
to time out. I finished with 25 seconds left.
There you go. That's nice.
When I got up on this last position, I looked at my timer and there were 25 seconds left. So I just took my time, took 2 more breaths, closed my bolt, and
That's it.
I cleaned it. So I wish I would have been able to film, let's say, like a more new shooter,
Yeah.
look at his sequence, and then film myself and kind of
Yeah.
overlaps it
Well,
for training purposes,
Yeah.
not to show off, but definitely for
exactly.
training purposes, and try to show some people where you can cut off some seconds.
Yeah. Or just feel more comfortable because we have the Rimfire Competition Academy, so we teach people all. We take a brand new competitor and we show them all of the information they need to be able to process. You know, we show them how a scope works. We walk through setting up the ballistic calculator. We get their velocity. We do basic wind bracketing, and then we do positional shooting practice. The thing is, you show them everything, and then we do a 3-stage mini match at the end of the day. And no one remembers anything you told them the morning of, you know.
So
They're
much
standing.
information
They're
to
standing. Yeah, I
process.
know.
Exactly.
That's it. But I think the point is, if you have a video, we say at the end of the day, we're going to send you home with a video of, because we have an experienced shooter in each squad, so they run the stage first, so they get a chance to see what a pro would do, and then they shoot the stage after. I'd love to say, here's the video clip of you shooting, and here's how the pro ran it. So, and these are the 3 things you have to remember. If we could do that, I think that would help them. There's nothing more uh, like a wake up call to actually showing what you're doing, you know, because you could tell them.
Yeah.
You could say stand like this.
You know, it is part of the way we do our training classes for PRS is that we cut really small part by really small parts. You don't have to worry about 20 things together, and you just. And funny thing is that we found a range that agreed to let us do the shooting class with positional stuff. The main restriction was dry fire only because the range was cold at the moment we did it, and so I was in between because it's not the same thing doing dry fire than shooting, but it's better than nothing. So we went with that, and honestly, it was, in my opinion, a game changer. Yeah. Even if we have access to live fire range, I feel like we're gonna do a full day of only by dry fire because when you only do dry fire and we do segmentation of every different stuff. So building
Yeah.
position was one thing at a time. So we've
We
passed
built
an
a
hour
drill on
doing
each skill, each
Yeah,
different skill.
exactly.
We've been
So
able
building
That's
to
cool.
position was one stuff, with different height.
Yeah.
The natural position of your body, finding the target was
target
one.
acquisition.
Exactly, target acquisition. Natural point of aim was one. So about an hour on every different skill base level with only dry fire. So the only thing you have to keep in mind is what you are trying to learn.
Right.
Do it correctly.
Yep.
And you're gonna find a target easier. And you
Exactly.
you don't have to worry about
Yeah.
like what's the wind's doing, what's
Yeah,
my
yeah.
wobble zone, you just
'Cause-
go on the
yeah.
target, and we've put like 2 MOA targets down there. So
Nice.
okay, your wobble zone was about 1 MOA, it was half target. So you were still on target. Oh, okay, now do it again, try this differently.
Nice.
And you do it again, you barely move. Oh, now I've learned.
Yeah.
Yeah,
How
and
big-
I've
How
been
big a class do you guys normally have? How many students to instructors?
8.
Yeah,
we
Eight
had
for the
8.
two of us.
So it's 2. So it's 4.
It's
Four
four-
students per
4 to 1.
Yeah, we try
That's
not to
cool.
have two big groups because
Yeah.
we felt like we have more time to fine tune something and really teach and really like
show around. Plus,
Yeah.
we want to keep learning on our side as an instructor.
Yeah.
So you
That's
don't
cool.
learn and you don't show as much stuff you have 10 students
Too
per
many.
instructor.
Yeah.
So 4 was, I think, the perfect balance. Everyone can learn
Yeah.
from the others also. No downtime.
Yeah.
Yeah, really, really great.
and each person attending the class had a good amount of time behind this gun to do the drills. And if I can talk more about the dry fire, another thing I liked about it is I think it kind of like people were not worried about, am I going to hit the target? Am I going to look like a fool? Like you said, like you're in a class, am I going to be able to no, you only focus on the process. You only focus on what the instructor taught you to do.
Yeah, that's a great technique.
No bullet is exiting your muzzle. So and safety wise, it was great. We still touched on how safety works at a PRS match. But yeah, we've been able to isolate each skill and do a drill about it. And I think that everybody was maybe maybe doing it exactly the way we thought it because there was no shooting.
Yeah. I think I'm going to steal that idea. I'm going to rewrite some of our course because for a shooter, for them, they know when it stabilizes. They know when they've got a good sight picture or speed to settling down to get a good sight picture. So if we can cut that time in half or even 75%, they'll know. And if the wobble zone, like you said, is decreased from a 3 MOA wobble zone to a 1, they'll feel it, right? Just by locking your knees and bending at the waist, or using this bag versus that bag. Or
and we've done like live fire classes.
Yeah.
And that's why I was in between the beginning when we got the offer of doing it on a cold range.
Yeah.
And we did it anyway because it was too good of an opportunity to do it. But honestly, like if I have to go back in time and do the other class, I will start doing all the exercise, dry fire for at least half a day before we start shooting. Doing the exact same thing, with dry fire. It
makes sense.
It was eye-opening.
Yeah, I like it. I like it a lot.
And especially with center fires, if someone is a new shooter, not accustomed a lot with his load or whatever, like you're not figuring out dope problems or zero offsets or any mechanical issues. You're just focusing on technique.
Yeah. And it's binary. Do you feel more stable? Yes or no, right? Is it better or is it worse? And the feedback is immediate, right? Whereas with a shot, it's like just because you hit it or missed it doesn't mean you learned a lesson, right?
Exactly.
And that's the misleading part. So I'm going to steal that for sure. Now I just gotta add another 4 hours to my day or cut some stuff out, So no, that's good though. That's cool. That makes so much sense. Yeah. So on that day when you had the cold range, you had no firing at all, or you had some some no shots,
No,
No
no
fire.
shots at all.
just positional stability. That's
Yep.
cool.
We
Yeah,
had we did a little bit of a theory on wind reading. We give our technique, how we figure out wind, how we build a wind formula. Let's say, really basic ballistics, because we really want to touch on positional and fundamentals, natural point of aim, because I think it's all about. I think it's all about this, because I remember one shooter told us that he was switching. He was planning on switching from a 6.5 Creedmoor to a 6 something. I can't remember what it is, because he said, like, I want to be able to see more impacts or more trace or more feedback. And honestly, I don't think that it's the caliber that is going to allow you to see more feedback. Sure, at shorter ranges, like let's say under 400 yards.
Yeah.
Under 600. Do you remember the video I did on for YouTube with the high capacity?
I just didn't remember the ranges, but let's say somewhere.
But the difference between a 6.5, difference between a 6.5 and something smaller, I will say like 6BR. I don't remember the exact caliber. I think I used Dasher. The difference between 6.5 and a Dasher was like seeing new shooter was seeing your bullet at the dirt at 600 with the 6.5 and probably like under 400 with the Dasher. So it does make a difference. But for an experienced shooter, you can see your stuff with a 6.5 at 300. So you can work your way up with a 6.5. You just have to build really solid position. I think it's what Etienne was trying to say, is that the caliber won't make the limitation factor out of that, but it does have an impact. In my opinion, I switched between 2BR and it was a world of difference. And now that I'm more experienced and I shoot 6.5 for fun with other people rifle at range, and I see way more stuff than what I was seeing with my 6.5 back in the day. But even with my 22BR, when I started shooting 22BR 6 years ago or 5 or whatever.
Well, yeah. I switched to a 6BR too, because I mean, it's less.
6.5 is brutal. 6.5 is brutal.
It's less recoil, and I think the sport has moved on to a lot more movement, a lot more fast shooting. So the smaller caliber kind of helps you recover. But I've been keeping like traces of matches I shot in the first couple of years, and the average distance has always been somewhere like it's almost perfectly at 600 yards. So you have almost half of your shots that are farther than 600 yards and half that are inside 500 yards, 600 yards. So
interesting.
So if the average is around 600 with the 6.5 Creedmoor, you can spot your impacts at 600 yards. And I think that the 6.5 is one of the great calibers to learn, because you can't cheat. You can't cheat your positional. You can't cheat your fundamentals on a 6.5. You got to be dead on, and you got to be perfect. So that's kind of what I was trying to say, is that learn the fundamentals, learn the good position, and then to get that next. Let's say, like Yanick was saying at the beginning, your learning curve at the beginning is steeper than at the end. So the last 10, 15, 5% are the harder one to get.
Yeah. And people always ask me, when is it the right time for me to spend the money on custom rigs? I always tell them, when you're counting your score by the number of points you drop per stage instead of the number of points you made, that's the time to get the custom actions. Because that's what separates the podium guys. It's that last little bit of, you'll spend the money on.
And even that, on like, you put a factory rifle in the hand of a good shooter, and it won't make, like we've said it at the beginning with the CZ455. I'm pretty sure I can go in a rimfire match with my CZ4, my really really old CZ455, and still be placed the same and probably even higher than doing it with my custom action rimfire. Like, and if you got access to a good factory action, there is like no way you're gonna get more points with a custom
for sure.
board.
And that's
there
why
is other there is other upside of a custom action, usually like the Remington 700 footprint. If you shoot centerfire and rimfire and you want to switch over your chassis or have more chassis option, that's probably the main reason. But that's about the only one I can see right now with the rimfire stuff. I might be wrong, but
the only other one I would see is left-handed shooters, because I've had that problem with my wife, who is a lefty. I tried to build her a rimfire, and I wanted to get her like a CZ 457. But if you get the CZ in left hand, then you have no chassis options. You got
to cut it.
You have to cut it or trim it, or I don't know. So
you need to know somebody.
Yeah, you need to. I work wood, but I'm not super good with metal, so I just bought her Bergera.
It's the same, man. Just paint it over. Just use body filler to smooth out the chunky bits. Just take the Dremel out and don't be scared. Just go for it.
Everything's a Dremel.
Yeah, everything's a Dremel. The ultimate misused tool, you know.
With guns, definitely.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. And that's the fun part about the sport. You know, back in the day, 308 was king. And Yanick saying, Rene Menard can still kick 90% for the field with a factory 308 KDEX. It's sometimes a good shooter can make a great gun, but when you pair a good shoe with a great gun, it the factor doubles in terms of what they can do with it. So, but again, I always tell people, just learn. The first year, you're just learning how to shoot a match. Don't worry about trying to win the match. Just learn how to shoot a match. Don't worry about the time. Build a good solid position. Make the hits you're supposed to hit, which is within the whatever your zero is, double that distance. Those are the shots you shouldn't be missing. If you're missing those, then your fundamentals are lacking still. So work on that. After that, then it's as your ballistic calculator right, is your positional becomes a little bit more because your spread becomes 3-4 MOA further out.
The main limitation factor for about every factory rifle you get, and it's even I think worse in the rimfire world. Well, it's not the same issue rimfire against centerfire, but it's the balance point.
Yeah.
In the rimfire with factory stuff, usually you have a really small barrel, and that totally put the weight of the rifle behind or at the mag well or behind, and so you cannot put the rifle in. You need to be able to put the rifle about, let's say, at least 2-inch, minimum 2-inch in front of the mag well. Leave it there and it won't drop. And most of the factory rifle rimfire do not do that. The 1022 fine, but because you put the mag straight on the bag. But in centerfire world, it's even worse. It's because most of that is going into the recoil of the rifle. If it's too light, it's going to be insane to shoot a factory one, and even if it's balanced, and usually they're a bit better balanced because the barrel is longer and heavier. But that's probably the main factor you have to work on the factory. Like if you get a CZ455 and it's totally unbalanced, you got to do something. Either add some weight at the muzzle by adding a tuner or on the. If you got a rail, you can put some weight on the rail itself, or trying to find a way to remove some weight from the buttstock or something like that.
Exactly. And I always tell people it's not the weight of the rifle that matters; it's the balance.
It's the balance,
and that's key. And it's a hard lesson because as you're starting out, there's so many lessons you have to learn. So don't worry about. Just learn how to shoot a match. Learn what you're doing. Learn to true your calculator. Learn how to read your calculator properly, and no one is giving you bad data, because calculator, everyone just takes it, and it's easy to make a huge error just by, shot angle is one of the big ones. I always see that people, for whatever reason, they've set like a 15-degree shot angle, and their numbers are all off for the whole day. It's like, let's go back. Let's start from the beginning. What's your velocity? What's your BC? And then you start from there. And then, well, what's your target? What's your wind? You know, crazy
And
stuff. So
yeah, you know what? It's one thing I've been wanting to do, but I just can't find the time. But I'll find it. But it's one thing I've been wanting to do is just do a video, and I want to do it in French, like we said, because there is not a lot of good information in French. But I would just like to try to do a video of just like a class on how to use your Kestrel.
yeah.
So it's not the most intuitive piece of equipment, but like I've seen so many people do some mistakes or some bad inputs or like they can just screw up their day just by
I know.
leaving the environmentals unlocked. I've seen this at a match recently. Like they just didn't know. The guy just doesn't know. He puts his environmental at live and just stays it at life. But when the sun hits that Kestrel and that temperature, like it can go up to 35 or 40 degrees. I don't know.
Or
If
keeps
it's
it in
on
his
a
pocket.
black
You know?
tripod, it can go really hot. So then it dopes off. Why? Well, you're at 42 degrees Celsius. It's 15 outside.
Yeah. There's so many things. It's such a hard sport. There's so many variables, you know. And at the end of the day, you forget that you're one rev out, you know, because you just shot 1,000 yards and now you're shooting 300 yards, and you just went to zero and you didn't check your mechanical zero.
Yeah. But the good thing about that is most of those variables are under your control.
Yes.
And so you can, if you want to improve, you can work on everything on that and put some mental energy in all of that to make sure you put back your turret on the checklist stage. Exactly. And you don't have to do it, well, maybe at the beginning, but at some point you don't have to do it actually on paper, your checklist of pre-stages, like post-stages and everything.
Yeah.
You just, most of that is in your head. Then the wind's going to switch. That's not exactly on you, but you're going to have to learn how to read when the wind switch.
And know what you're going to do when the wind switches. What's your bracket, right?
Mm-hmm. Exactly. So
most
of the stuff that are mistakes are your own mistakes that you can easily work on almost all of that.
Yeah.
It's all under your control.
I know. It's so hard though. There's so many. And depending on what you're doing, if you forget to load your mags or you underload a mag or you drop a mag. Yeah, just all kinds of things. And all of a sudden your mental management is out the window and you shoot out a sequence and you just got to stop and just laugh at yourself. It's okay. Next stage, we'll start over again, you know?
Exactly. And
exactly. There is matches like that. Or it's just going bad to worse and worse, and at some point you're just not there. And if you got two really bad stages that you're so out of the game, just shoot for the fun. Like back to the exact beginning of why you're doing that.
Exactly.
Is just shoot the match for the fun at this point.
I know.
Don't go for the point. That's such a hard thing. Go for
and
the
that's
learning.
What I tried. Yeah, everyone's got to remember you're doing this for fun. If you're not having fun, then you're doing something wrong. Or again, right now it's interesting to watch the guys that are really close to the top. Right, they're trying to dial out every weakness that they've got. You know, because they want to be that guy. They want to be the one. You know, they have hopes of making the world's team eventually. You know, and it's hard. It's a hard road. You know, that the road to precision and it's not just precision. It's consistency. You know, and being able to make
is hard.
It's because we're human, you know. It could be depending on what we had for breakfast that day or how much traffic we had getting to the match that morning, or you know, you forgot some important thing, you know, you don't have your lucky socks on today, all those little things. So but it's fun. It's a fun sport, and I hope people keep remembering that it is supposed to be fun and enjoyable, and 99% of people are still having a good time. I love talking to the new guys because I see in their eyes where everyone was like 6 years ago, you know. Everyone's brand new and super excited. It's so much fun. It's like, wow, you know, the improvement they make from one stage to the other is like dramatic, you know.
Yeah, it's amazing.
It's amazing. It's amazing. So that's the fun part about being a match director at watching all the new guys. And Rimfire is so easy because we don't care about our brass at the end of the day. You know. We don't have to worry about reloading.
No brass prep, no loading development, no loading at all.
Yeah. Honestly, Rimfire is the best way to get into the sport, I think, because first in Canada, we have a lot of matches.
Yeah.
We have a
ton.
big Rimfire community, and I think the cost prohibition, or I don't know how to translate it, but I think it's less restrictive cost wise.
Yeah.
If it makes sense.
Yep.
To shoot Rimfire, it's probably easier to have a good factory Rimfire rifle.
Yep.
Than have a good centerfire rifle, and then the ammo is cheaper, and
it's the effort that you don't have to do.
It's also less effort because you don't need to learn. Because like the amount of matches we shoot in a year, I wish I wouldn't have to reload, but it's just not possible. I mean,
well, you can if you're rich. You can buy factory.
But still,
ammo.
They don't make the factory ammo that I want to shoot.
Yeah,
I'm shooting Sierra 110s out of a BR. Like nobody's ever gonna do this, and everybody would tell I was gonna do this. They told me I was crazy. Yeah. But I just did pretty good last weekend with it, so I'm gonna stick with it. It just doesn't exist. But the Rimfire side, you don't need to learn this, so you can learn on something else. You can have your brains on learning positional fundamentals, reading the wind. Just like you said, just shooting a match, the safety behind shooting a match, the procedures behind getting your stage ready, making your dope card, having a plan on plan A, plan B, on position, on wind, on like you can learn all these things without having to worry about is my mag in the mag well okay? Is it gonna feed? Is the feed okay? Is the ammo good? Is the SDs good? Is the like you don't need to worry about all of this. You just need to worry about
shooting a match. Yeah.
So,
and we're seeing a lot of the Rimfire guys now crossing over to centerfire just because of those back-to-back days. So I'm here anyway. I might as well build a rifle and start shooting centerfire. So it's kind of cool to now the 22 trainer that used to be the reason to get into 22 now becomes, the reason why people are getting into centerfire. So,
and I think it's easier for younger shooters.
Yeah, for
I
sure.
think it's easier for women also. Like you don't need a 22-pound rifle to have a rifle that balances is not kicking the hell out of you in 22. My wife's 22. I think it's like 14 and a half pounds.
That's
15 maybe.
Yeah.
Because I just wanted to balance it. She didn't want it to be heavy, so.
Yeah. Our most popular loaner rifle is a CZ457 MTR 16-inch barrel in a KRG Bravo chassis. Cool. It's so light and it balances well with a good solid optic like a Strike Eagle on it. Everyone has a good time with it, and they're not beat up by the end of the day. They don't have to make a face when they pick up their rifle from the rack. It's like so it's just a fun day for them. And it's one level above just a synthetic stock, really.
Oh yeah.
So or 2 levels, maybe 3 levels. Just because it's balanced and it's a chassis. So.
Yeah,
that's cool, man. Well, you guys are doing a great job at helping your fellow French Canadians get into the sport. I'm looking forward to seeing more and more get into it and stay in it. And there's certainly like you said, there's a match almost every weekend now you can drive to. It's amazing, both centerfire and rimfire, and you can do both in the same weekend if you want to every weekend. Really, if you go down to the States. There's so many opportunities. So for sure. That's good. So again, if people want to find you guys, it's la route sur la route de précision. Is that the
exactly? Yeah.
Okay. And in YouTube as well?
Yeah.
Okay. Perfect.
Canadian precision shooting.
Yeah,
Canadian precision shooting.
It's my channel and
perfect. And you guys do the courses and you guys have a podcast too, I saw?
Yeah, we do.
The podcast is called Sur la route de la précision. We call it that way because we just register them while we drive to matches. So we just got
kind of the same idea of miles to matches, but in French.
Perfect.
Yeah. The Team U version.
There you go. Hey, it's entertainment. There's something for everybody, man. It's we're not curing cancer. It's not rocket science. We're just sharing information and enjoying camaraderie, and we're keeping people entertained as they reload their 150 rounds for the next match.
Yeah, and it
And
kind of started while we were driving one time driving like I don't know 5-6 hours to a match, and we were just having like really kind of in-depth conversations
yeah,
or technical aspects conversation. And at one point we just said, why don't we just record these and maybe some people will like it. So it
yeah,
kind of started that way. We just recorded a couple of episodes,
that's it.
and I think people like it. So
That's cool. Yeah, for sure. I mean, we're some of the most thought provoking and insightful conversations happen on the way to and from matches, and the world never gets to see the brilliance that happens in that conversation. So I'm glad you guys are recording it. I wish I recorded some of my early match travel days with my buddies. We talked about everything. So I'm looking forward to listening in and getting the insight into the world of the French Canadian PRS shooter and the various experiences you have going in and around North America. That's cool, man. Well, thank you guys for coming on. I appreciate it.
thank you for the
Uh,
invite.
I
Yeah,
look
thank
forward
you for
to
having us.
one day shooting again with you, Yannick, and one day shooting with you, Etienne. Again, thanks for what you guys do. It obviously it's a passion for you guys, and that comes across. And I think the shooters just getting into the sport are appreciative of the efforts you guys put into making their transition into the competitive world a lot easier than having to figure out on their own. Back in the bad old days, you just go to the range and you shoot 50 rounds and then you go home. That was it. That was practice. Just keep. That's how Dad taught you. Just keep pulling a trigger.
Yeah.
So, but it's more than that. So I appreciate you guys putting the effort into it. Anyway, guys, thanks so much, and thanks everybody for joining the Rimfire Nation podcast, courtesy of Tesro.ca, your home for all your precision shooting needs. And give these guys a follow, like, and subscribe sur la route la précision, and a Canadian precision shooter in YouTube. Is that the one?
Yeah.
Perfect. All right, guys. Thanks so much. Look forward to seeing you guys on the firing line. Take it easy.
Thank you, Ray.
See you guys.